Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Quick intro. I'm going to run through some of the advanced tools that I use to be as efficient as possible in my fabrication bay. I've been doing this over 10 years now, and in that time I've come up with a few must-have tools and a few little life hacks, quality of life tools. Some of them are laid out here on the floor, but I'm going to run through pretty much everything. It's not going to be a bay tour, but it's going to be scenarios where these tools are invaluable for my efficiency. So stay tuned. This is a 2-for-1, so I do a lot of work on this captain's wheel. As you can see, something small like this, you can weld it all up nice and easily. This here is, so down here I have various different setups. I've got, you know, your normal captain's wheel. I've got straights, I've got the elbows, I've got all sorts. This 90-degree piece is just a piece of angle, two bits of pipe that slide in and out of each other that attach onto a solid turning thing. It rotates inside here with minimal movement and play. It doesn't arc burn because I believe you need at least 3 points of contact, and you don't get arc burn. And yeah, this here is my counterweight for it. This is the counterweight for it. So simple, so simple, yet it works an absolute treat. And by the way, don't stress that there isn't a prep on it. I'll show you a trick in a second what I do to save time so I don't have to prep these pieces. We don't have a prepping machine, so you'd have to prep them by hand. So I'll show you what I do. So I use that and I go around it, I feather down all the tacks. Look at that prep. You tell me I didn't save myself so much time. Look at that. So that's why when you see these here, don't think I don't know what I'm doing. It's just to save time. One quick spin on this 9-inch grinder and it's prepped. Versus using a 5-inch grinder and that's long. Now this here is ready to be welded up. As you can see, this can handle a lot of weight. It is a thick old 10-12 mil thick. There's the root on the inside. And then the cap on the outside. But yeah, it can handle a serious amount of weight, and yeah, it's pretty solid. You know, look, you can rock it up. It's moving the whole table. Following on with the captain's wheel, here's another use of a piece of equipment for the captain's wheel. Just a piece of angle tacked on the back. If you can tack, you can tack. If you can't tack, then you'd have to find another way. But just tacked on. Now this can go into the captain's wheel to be rolled. So right now, I've got this key, and there's two things I want to show you. One, I didn't make. Actually, the company bought this. And two, I made. This was in my previous video about life hacks. So essentially, this here is two bits of pipe that sleeve into each other, and I use that tacked onto here to essentially hold the pipe level and stable while I put the flanges on. Alternatively, what people would do when I was away when I was away at the other workshop, people was tacking onto the edge of all the rollers, and it basically destroys the rollers, and the more you grind it, the more it feathers down. These are like 400, 500 quid each, so it's not good. So they'll destroy the rollers, and yeah, so this side here, it sleeves in and out, tacks onto here. When I want to take it off, I just hit here with the hammer, twist it off, done. So that's held solid for me right now while I use this. Now, this here is called a spider clamp. This is around £800, something silly, really expensive, and it's got two internal grabbing pieces. You can see the outside piece there and the other piece there. You use this and this clamps, amazing for just lining up internals, and I use it on the weld necks. Here is a little close-up of my counterweights. They're pretty handy. You can earth through that if you like. 2 tacks is all you need, and then you can snap it off without having to worry about using the grinder. So 2 tacks at the front, snap it off, it don't go nowhere. Anytime you make these, you make them future-proof. You use a decently beefy bolt, because anything smaller over time gets worn out. I've got the same one with 4 of them on. I've got a bigger size with 4 on. I've got these counterweights, so they go on the end of the turning handles, the counterweight. Say I've got like a big elbow on it, it counterweights that. Essentially, I can rotate this whole pipe now. And again, remember when I was saying about the straight cut pipe? Don't stress. As you can see up here, here's an example of what I'm saying, that I use the grinder. I use the 9-inch grinder to open it out. You see the bevel? See the tap? So don't look at these straight cuts and think, oh, I'm doing something bad. Again, this is just to save time while being on price work. I get paid, not hourly, I get paid a certain amount of money per butt weld. So the faster I can get it done, the more money I can make. And so far, it is lunchtime, and I'm about to finish this off. I've made this and that so far, and also made this piece here. So I've got various turning handles. This here is for maximum 10-inch, 14-inch, 18-inch and above. Now, I go away on holidays, I go away to other fab shops, I do other things on the side, and people come to my bay and they essentially, they don't understand how my tools work and they destroy them. For example, someone has, you can see the shape of this, that should be coming down. Someone stretched this and bent it and cut it to fit a bigger pipe instead of using something like this. Again, if you see how this sits, that should be on the floor, but someone's broken it and welded it together, and look at that, that's horrendous. So people use my stuff when I go. This piece here, tack it on top, and you've got turning handles. You've got three handles to turn the pipe around. They're far enough away from the center that you've got leverage to be able to rotate the pipe if it's not perfectly balanced. And even if it is perfectly balanced, the longer the pipe is, the more inertia it has, as well as the resistance of the rollers. So you do need a decent turning handle. I would have tacked this on top. I'd usually tack this on top, and then it allows me to rotate the pipe. Next I've got the bigger one. Now obviously this is for bigger pipe, but you can always put it on smaller sizes. If it's not a perfect fit, I tack it like this. I tack it like the 2 spots here, and then you can see you've got almost full turning handles all the way around. Alternative are these ones here. So that's for 6 inch, that's for 3 inch, and it is basically a flange cut down. It's a flange cut down. I've got these videos. I've got the video of me making one of these on my channel. Links will be in the description. But yeah, you just slap it over the pipe, twist it up, and then just like that, it's locked in, and then you can rotate a 3 inch pipe, no, a 2.5 inch pipe and a 6 inch pipe. Twist one side, twist the other side, sorted. There is a convenient turning handle for this piece of pipe, locked in solid. Okay, maybe not locked in perfectly, but yeah, see, it just sits on it. So I'm working on. So it can get extremely confusing sometimes trying to remember your socket sizes. When you've got multiple sizes that you're messing with, it throws you off. So this handy dandy little tool is just a socket Christmas tree. It's written down, so when I've got a random socket, just, you know, eye it up. I know that's a 15mm one. What's this size here? It looks like 32. It could be 1 inch. You see what I'm saying? It's not 32, it's 1 inch. So I use this all the time when it comes to like the 32s and 40s. 50 I know, 20 I know, 25 I know compared to a 20, and vice versa. But the 32 and 40s is always confusing. And what's even more confusing is in the UK we use metric, but when it comes to pipes we still use both inches and millimeters, which it's just nonsense. 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inch, 1 1.25 inch, 1.5, 2 inch. Here's another little piece of tool equipment you should make. It's just 2 bits of angle, and what I use it for, something like this. If you're trying to level this off, you wouldn't level one individual thing, you'd try to level the whole length. So you'd put like a bolt or a spacer here and a bolt spacer here, and put a straight edge or a level all the way across, you know, to get the average of the whole length. That's where this comes into. It's not perfect size for this, it's more suited for smaller pipes, but you can use it like this. It's just a quick, easy way of bridging gaps. And then now I know that this level is equal to averaging out the 2 of these things, because sometimes you can get a T that divots in or vice versa or whatnot. So it's just a good way of bridging across things. Say this here, for example, obviously it's not long enough, but say it was long enough, it would have been able to bridge across this. It's just a homemade DIY piece of equipment for bridging gaps and taking the average of levels. So I showed this in my last video, where it's just a life hack or something to raise the base of the vise up so things fit nicely in the vise. It's something simple, off-cut piece of pipe. Make sure you have 2 pieces either side to make sure it sits there so it doesn't slide off easily. Chain so it's always in place, doesn't get lost. That's just my first go-to, easiest modification piece of equipment that you can have, and it makes the vise more responsive. I can put a V-stand underneath here and be able to adjust the height of it, vice versa here, be able to twist it. Without that, it will be sitting down in the bottom, and then it will catch at the bottom here. So whatever level the vise is what level this would be, and there won't be any adjustment. This was covered in my last video, This here is what I use to deburr the inside of the pipe. So I've just put a socket, I've just burnt the socket hole. Now I need to clean off all of that salt. You can use just a standard bit of pipe, but it's not really sharp enough, hard enough, and it basically bounces off. By using a file and clamping it in the vise and snapping off the tip, you get a super hard edge, and then you just use this on the inside to deburr. And essentially you need to deburr the inside to maintain flow rates, as well as, yeah, pretty much you have to deburr it to maintain the flow rates, and it looks ugly otherwise, so it's a must